If walls could talk, the stories from some houses would be nothing short of horrifying. These structures, which once served as the backdrop for some of the grisliest crimes in history, hold secrets that would send chills down anyone's spine. So let's jump into the tour. Up first, we visit the Idaho Murder House. Across the nation, there are numerous murder houses that were once home to some of the world's most infamous killers. Some have been meticulously remodeled and sold to the highest bidder, their dark pasts overshadowed by new polish and perfection. Others have become macabre tourist attractions, drawing true crime enthusiasts from around the globe who seek a glimpse of where evil once resided. Yet more often than not, properties associated with notorious killings are demolished. A recent example is the off-campus home in Moscow, Idaho, where 4 University of Idaho students were tragically stabbed to death. The house was demolished on December 28th during the school's holiday break. The demolition, which began before dawn and saw the 3-story house gone within 2 hours, marked an emotional milestone for the victims' families and the close-knit community devastated by the brutal murders of Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin in November 2022. Some families opposed the demolition, arguing that the house should be preserved until after Brian Koberger, the man accused of the killings, is tried. Prosecutors assured university officials that they no longer needed the house, having already gathered the necessary measurements to create illustrative exhibits for a jury. For decades, the fate of properties linked to killers or murder scenes has been a contentious issue. While some homes remain standing as grim reminders of their dark histories, others are destroyed in an effort to erase any memory of the horrific events that transpired within their walls. Up next, we visit the Cleveland Stranglers house.
In this house last week. This morning, we know there are more.
We discovered 4 additional, what we believe to be 4 bodies.
Police believe that they were murdered by this man, Anthony Sowell, a convicted rapist who had been living in the house.
In 2011, the house where Anthony, the Cleveland Strangler, Sowell concealed the bodies of his victims met its demise through demolition. This grim event attracted over 50 onlookers, including the grieving relatives of Sowell's victims, who gathered to witness the destruction, as reported by local news outlets. The city personally delivered a letter to the victims' families, which read, "To honor the memory of your loved ones and show respect to your family and our community, the demolition will be conducted in a manner that ensures no piece of the property will remain."
The house on Imperial Avenue, dubbed the House of Horrors, is no more. Demolition crews brought down the home where Anthony Sowell brutally murdered 11 women.
Sowell's gruesome crimes spanned from 2007 to 2009, during which he brutally murdered 11 women. Their remains, in various states of decomposition, were discovered at his home on Imperial Avenue in the neglected Mount Pleasant neighborhood of Cleveland. 6 of these decomposing bodies were found inside the house, while 5 more were buried in the garden. The dismemberment of several victims added to the horror, with police reportedly finding only the head of one woman. A disturbing incident occurred just a week before the police uncovered these atrocities. Neighbors witnessed a naked woman falling from Sowell's second-floor balcony into the garden, yet no action was taken. Sowell was eventually apprehended in 2009 following numerous complaints from neighbors about a foul stench pervading the area. Initially, the smell was mistaken for a byproduct of a nearby sausage factory, according to CNN. Before embarking on his killing spree, Sowell had been released from prison in 2005 after serving time for a rape conviction dating back to 1989. Anthony Sowell passed away in February 2021 at the age of 61.
Also making news today, the Cleveland Strangler is dead.
He died at the Ohio Prison System's Franklin Medical Center in Columbus, where he had been admitted to an end-of-life care unit. Joellen Smith, a spokeswoman for the State Corrections Department, informed CNN that Sowell had been suffering from a terminal illness unrelated to COVID-19. The demolition of Sowell's house was not just the removal of a physical structure, but also an attempt to erase the physical remnants of his heinous crimes, offering a semblance of closure to a community and families haunted by his horrific acts. Up next, we visit Ariel Castro's House of Horrors. For nearly a decade, 3 women endured unimaginable horrors while being held captive in a home in Cleveland, Ohio. Ariel Castro, their kidnapper, abducted them on separate occasions between 2002 and 2004 when they were just 14, 16, and 20 years old. As time passed, the girls grew into women, but their lives remained confined within the oppressive walls of Castro's house. The windows were boarded up, leaving only a small hole for air circulation. Castro subjected his captives to relentless abuse and fathered a daughter with one of the victims. In a miraculous turn of events on May 6, 2013, Amanda Berry, Gina DeJesus, and Michelle Knight managed to escape their prison. Castro had failed to secure the big inside door, providing the opportunity for one of the women to scream for help, ultimately leading to their rescue. Castro was quickly arrested and later sentenced to life in prison. However, he only lived out 1 month of his sentence before he took his own life by hanging himself with a bedsheet in his cell. The House of Horrors, where these women endured years of torment, was demolished to the cheers of onlookers.
Well, happening right now, the site of 3 women's decade in hell is now being obliterated. As one of those women returns to witness the demolition, Michelle Knight handed out balloons this morning to people in the Cleveland neighbourhood that first got national attention 3 months ago with the women's rescue from Ariel Castro's house.
This act of destruction served as a symbolic end to a chapter of intense suffering and marked a step toward healing for the survivors and the community. The demolition of such private homes, especially those associated with heinous crimes, is a delicate and emotional decision. In recent years, similar challenges have arisen, particularly in the United States, where communities have faced the difficult choice of whether to tear down schools following mass shootings. School districts and communities must navigate the complex process of honoring victims and supporting their families. The survivors and those left behind grapple with returning to places marked by tragedy and finding ways to heal and move forward. The decision to demolish a site tied to such profound loss is often seen as a necessary step in the journey toward recovery, aiming to erase physical reminders of the pain and provide a fresh start for the affected communities. Up next, we visit JonBenét Ramsey's home. On the day after Christmas in 1996, the body of 6-year-old beauty pageant contestant JonBenét Ramsey was discovered in the basement of her family's home in Boulder, Colorado. This tragic event captured the world's attention and remains one of the most infamous unsolved murders. The same house where this horrific event took place hit the real estate market earlier this year with an asking price of nearly $7 million. By December 2023, the listing price had been adjusted to $6,249,000. While the listing describes the property as offering 7,240 square feet of elegant living areas, it notably omits any reference to JonBenét's tragic death. The case began with JonBenét's mother, Patsy Ramsey, informing the authorities that she had found a handwritten ransom note on the stairs demanding $118,000, the exact amount of her husband John Ramsey's recent bonus. Despite an initial search by police, JonBenét's body was not discovered until after 1 p.m. when her father found her in the basement following a request from the police to re-examine the house. The young girl had been brutally beaten and strangled. 2 years after this harrowing event, the Ramsey family sold the house to a group of investors for $650,000, according to reports from the Denver Post. In 2001, the property's address was changed from 755 15th Street to 749 15th Street, possibly in an attempt to dissociate it from its notorious past. In 2004, Tim Milner and his wife Carol Schuller Milner, daughter of the famed televangelist Robert H. Schuller, purchased the home for $1.05 million. Tragically, in 2006, Patsy Ramsey passed away from cancer. That same year, a teacher named John Mark Carr falsely confessed to JonBenét's murder, but was cleared when his DNA did not match the evidence found at the scene. In 2008, advancements in touch DNA testing exonerated the Ramsey family, leading to an official apology from Boulder authorities. However, public suspicion lingered. The pursuit of justice for JonBenét has continued over the years. In November 2022, Boulder Police and the District Attorney's Office announced an update on the ongoing homicide investigation, revealing plans to consult with the Colorado Cold Case Review Team in 2023. As of December 2023, Boulder PD confirmed to The Independent that the active investigation continues to receive assistance from federal, state, and local partners, indicating ongoing efforts to solve this cold case. The house itself stands as a silent witness to one of America's most perplexing and heart-wrenching crimes, its walls holding the secrets of that fateful night, even as it remains a significant piece of Boulder's real estate market. Up next, we go to Phil Spector's California Castle Mansion. With its turrets and grand entrance, Phil Spector's California Mansion looked like a fairy tale castle, while what happened inside its white walls was a real-life horror story. Perched upon a hilltop, hidden away in lush gardens behind tall gates and soaring trees, the house gives no hint of the tragedy that took place here in 2003. When the legendary music producer murdered actress and nightclub hostess Lana Clarkson. Spector was known as a musical genius who produced most in the 1960s and worked with the Beatles, Tina Turner, and the Righteous Brothers. His iconic wall of sound style influenced many more, including the Beach Boys and Bruce Springsteen, but success turned scandal in February of 2003 when he met 40-year-old Clarkson at a bar and then took her home. His chauffeur heard a gunshot, and moments later, Spector appeared holding a gun and said, "I think I killed somebody." Crime scene photos give us a glimpse at what the 10-bedroom house looked like at the time. The hallway where Clarkson was found dead was decorated with plush red carpets, a huge chandelier, elaborate vases, and an elegant wooden banister. Spector insisted at his trial that Clarkson had killed herself, but he was found guilty of second-degree murder in 2009 and was sentenced to serve 19 years to life. He died from COVID complications in 2021 at the age of 81. At the time of the murder, Spector's home looked dated. Police photos of his living room show a plastic flower arrangement, an elaborate coffee table, and a floral rug. Despite its tragic history, when the house was sold by his former wife in 2021, the listing showed that very little had been changed. Most of the ornaments and furniture had been pared back, but the coffee table along with the wood paneling, inlaid floors, and crystal chandeliers remained. The infamous home spans almost 11,000 square feet across 2 wings, which spread from the hallway in which Clarkson's body was found. Although it has a large bar, a billiards room, 11 bathrooms, and a fountain in the driveway, the castle eventually sold for $3.3 million, significantly less than the original asking price of $5.5, but a big jump from the $1.1 Spector paid for it in 1998, which would be around $1.8 million today. Up next, we go to the landlady's death house. This Victorian-style home, complete with a charming porch and miniature windmill in the front garden, was home to a community-spirited landlady who cared for the less fortunate in her quiet neighborhood. What could be more wholesome? But all was not as it seemed behind the curtains of this house. The seemingly sweet old lady was Dorothy Puente, a ruthless murderer who killed as many as 9 of her tenants and cashed in on their social security checks after burying their bodies in the garden. Puente set herself up as a landlady in the Mansion Flats area of Sacramento in the early 1980s, housing vulnerable tenants whom she drugged and murdered. Between 1982 and 1988, 9 of her lodgers vanished before police became suspicious. 7 bodies were unearthed in the garden of her pale blue boarding house, with a further 3 found in the Sacramento River. In 1993, the death house landlady was found guilty of 3 of the murders, and she died in a California prison in the year 2011 at the age of 83. Puente's infamous house still stands today, although the interior is a far cry from the dark rooms depicted in the crime scene photos. Built in 1968, the house is now a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom duplex, and the current owners, Tom Williams and Barbara Holmes, bought the wood frame home in 2010 for $226,000. They said, "Our bathroom was Dorothy's utility room, where she laid out the bodies of her victims after she killed them." Williams said, "The whole floor has been cleaned and remodeled since, so it doesn't bother us. The one thing that has remained the same is the stairway. Dorothy used to drag bodies down it and into the yard," Williams adds. Today, the garden is adorned with a light-hearted nods to its dark past. One sign reads, "Trespassers will be drugged and buried in the yard," and a shovel-wielding gray-haired figure guards the remodeled deck. Today, the house is valued at $656,000, a healthy sum considering the crazy history. Alright everyone, I think that's going to wrap this video up. Like I mentioned in the beginning, follow all my social media, and also 50% of the people who watch me don't subscribe, so just if you're watching, just click the subscribe button. It's free, it means a lot. And then an alternative option would be to become a member, which costs a couple dollars, but then, you know, I'll be calling you guys, FaceTiming you guys, you get cool badges, you get exclusive videos. I'll be making videos that I can't show, like public channel. So you guys get a ton of cool features and by clicking here and becoming a member. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I love you guys, thank you for the constant support. Feel free to share this video on anything, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.